Hello, I'm Dan Marshall, and I'm from the Met's Education Department, and I want to thank all of you for joining us for today's Zoom conversation for Met patrons and subscribers with Soprano Diana Damrau and tenor Joseph Calleja. This Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Diana and Joseph will be giving the latest performance of our Met Stars Live in Concert series, and General Manager Peter Gelb is going to speak with them about it today. Many thanks to these two great artists for giving us their time. And Peter, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. And I want to greet and thank all of the Met patrons and subscribers who are listening in live today to this conversation with two of my favorite Metropolitan Opera artists, Diana Damrau and Joseph Calleja, who so kindly have joined us today, even as they are getting ready to prepare for this concert on Saturday that will be streamed live throughout the world from the Royal Palace of Caserta in Italy, a venue which well, it's not a normal concert venue, but it's actually the largest palace I've learned that was built in Europe in the 18th century to house the various kings of Naples. And in this palace is a magnificent church, a capella, as it's called, and it is of ample proportions, and is where the performance of Diana and Joseph will take place. These days, nothing is easy to accomplish, and this concert has its various complications that we've been navigating through. But first, I want to welcome Diana and Joseph. Thank you so much for joining us today for this call and for the rehearsals and performance ahead.
Hello,
Thank
Peter.
you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody who's listening. We're thrilled to be here.
Hi, everyone.
Well, Joseph and Diana, although they will be united in one location later this week when they start rehearsing, actually tomorrow in Caserta, right now are still not together in the same place. Joseph is still in his home in Malta and is flying out, I guess, in the morning. And Diana has just recently arrived, I think yesterday, in Naples, in Napoli, which is just about a 20-minute drive from Napoli to Caserta. So they are preparing to, they know each other for many years. They haven't performed that much. You haven't performed that often together. But you have, I think you've been on the stage. What have you done together on the stage?
Don Pasquale was the first thing
Right.
years ago. I had a massive crush on Diana. She was Norina, I was Ernesto. I was 20 years old. She was just a few years older. And I think we did Lucia together. Diana,
Right.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yes,
A couple of
Lucia and
Rigoletto as well. No, we did quite a lot actually with Zubin-Mehta in
and
Munich.
Caserta as well, also in Munich.
Yeah, we did also the King Kong monkey Rigoletto in Munich as well. Remember?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was the gorilla. I didn't need much makeup or costume for that. I was natural.
Oh my, yeah. That brings back an issue. I remember I was at the dress rehearsal of that.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was this rehearsal was sung by Ramon Vargas.
Ramon Vargas, who walked out.
Then he walked out. then he walked out, and because he didn't want to put the mask, and they asked me, "Will you sing it?" Yeah, if I don't have the mask, and then which I didn't understand, and why didn't you just say yes to him? But anyway, it was one of those things. I was a young kid, and I said, "Okay."
Well, that was very brave of you to step in. Yeah, I remember that production very well because it was in the months leading up to my becoming general manager, and I was doing a survey of European houses, and I arrived to observe this dress rehearsal in which the entire cast were dressed in ape suits, in an example of excellent taste in European direction. And except Diana and who played Gelb and her father were space travelers.
I was Princess Leia. I was Princess Leia.
You were Princess Leia, yes. I remember the director of the production asking me to meet with her afterwards so that she and I could have a symposium together about what she had done, and I declined. But it was, both of you actually, your careers at the Met, in terms of duration and beginnings, sort of parallel my career as general manager. You're two of the most important artists to have performed at the Met over the last 15 years. I remember, Diana, I was actually also, just before I became officially general manager, I heard your stunning debut as a Zerbinetta. And I remember the house went crazy with applause for your performance, with an ovation that seemed to go on forever after you sang that great aria at the beginning. And Joseph, I remember going to hear you to actually check you out when you were singing Macduff in Seattle.
Yeah.
And immediately feeling that I had come across one of the great tenor talents and wanting to make sure that you would sing many, many roles at the Met in the future. So, well, actually, it's an interesting question, I think, for audiences today who so miss being in the opera house. And, they know that we're doing our best and we're all trying to put on performances under these difficult circumstances. You both are, and I'd like to hear about what you're doing in Europe these days. But what is it like, even in Europe, where you are performing in opera houses? The audiences are typically socially distanced, and very few people in the houses in most cases. How does it feel not singing in front of a packed opera house? What does that do to your performance, or not do?
Diana, go first.
Okay. Well, actually, I think it doesn't do anything, because if I sing for one person, or if I sing for 200 or 800 or 1 million, it's actually the same, because for me, it's I get into the music, I go on stage, I get into the role, and I try to fill it. But what I need, or what we all need, is the contact and the energy of the audience. And this is from 1 or 1 million. It's the same kind of, yeah. But well, the better is a full house, and the better is the human connection. That's what we are all longing for now. Okay, we have this situation, we do all our best, and it's amazing with what artists and opera houses and responsible people come up with. For instance, this series, or in Zurich at the Opera House, I did Maria Stuarda, and they have the orchestra outside. They have only the soloist singing. The rest, everybody on stage is with mask, but they have the possibility to have 80% of audience in the hall. So yeah, but it's in every country, it's different. Every country has different restrictions, and it's crazy.
And then the restrictions keep changing, particularly in Europe now, as this second wave of COVID is increasing. And I know certainly it's affected the recitals that we're presenting, since we've had to move a number of them. In fact, originally, even though Malta is safe, this concert was meant to be in Malta, but our German crew felt that they would have difficulty for some reason, not knowing exactly how they would travel to Malta. They felt that it would be safer to do something closer to home, which is why we ended up moving the concert to Italy. Although I look forward to the time when I can visit you, Joseph, in
Absolutely.
Malta. But tell me, Joseph, what has your life been like recently in terms of your performances in Europe?
I mean, I became an excellent baker. I'm a master gardener. But first of all, thank you to you, to the Met, to the patrons especially, who are making this possible. And please don't forget us. We'll be there before you can, and this will be all hopefully a distant nightmare. But I did Gioconda in Berlin. I had to do my role debut with 2 rehearsals. It went really well. There's this hunger from the audience. It was sold out, both performances. It's true that they had a less social distance on the seat. The seats were, some of them were left empty, but they had, I think, 500 on the waiting list for both performances, 1,000 people. So we would have sold out. People are hungry for music, for live music. People are hungry for life to return to normal as soon as possible, but of course as safely as possible. The only thing which irks me a bit, which makes me a little bit angry, is that we do all this fuss, and I'm talking about Europe here, because I know that in America there's a total different situation with lawsuits. If someone gets sick, I wouldn't contemplate having to deal with that. But here in Europe, where we don't have perhaps that much of a problem with that, is that in planes are full. There's no social distancing on planes whatsoever. You can remove your mask even when you drink or eat. Pubs and restaurants are full as long as they serve food. So what I have concluded is that the coronavirus really loves opera, because it will come to the opera. It will not travel on planes nor go to the pubs or restaurants. So it's a bit these let's say situations of unfairness. And I want to send a message that art is important. When people say in the UK, there were some people, the politicians who said that arts are not essential. Well, try living the spirit with no Netflix, no news, no series, no movies, no music. All of that forms part of the arts. And if you take that away in the quarantine, when people were locked down inside their houses or apartments, you take away that entertainment value, then I think you realize how much the arts are important.
Well, that's why we've made such a point of delivering the arts to people in their homes during the crisis from the very beginning with our nightly streams. And I certainly understand your frustration as a performer of seeing the inequity in the way certain situations are handled in some places and not in others. But I think one of the one of the problems we have in the world today is that there is no uniform strategy on how to deal with this situation. In New York right now, it's not so much lawsuits, it's really a question of the government having been the epicenter of the health crisis at the beginning, where thousands of people were in the hospitals in New York City. The governor made the decision, the only decision he could make, I think, which was to shut everything down. And they're very scared of it coming back. So they have kept these maximums of no more than 50 people being allowed in one space, which completely rules out the possibility of opera, which is not. So my decision to cancel the Met 2021 season was not a decision that I made independently. I had no choice.
It was taken for you.
Yeah, really taken for you. The timing of it was my choice, and I think what's happening though in Europe, I think that, and I don't want to turn this into a health conversation. We want to talk about music, but I think what's happening in Europe right now is that there are consequences being paid for the fact that so many flights are being allowed without people wearing masks and restaurants are open. And that's why there are all these spikes right now taking place in Europe. Until there's a vaccine that is widely available, I think we're going to be living the life of kind of health fugitives for the next months. Anyway, let's talk about the program. But before we talk about the program, just to whet the appetite of our audience and to remind them of your prodigious talents, I want to play a couple of very brief excerpts now, please. Ravi, to you both for that. Do you spend a lot of time watching your past performances? Diana, Joseph?
I'll go. Okay. When I'm listening to my voice, except for my latest album, The Magic of Mantovani, because it's such easy listening. It's work. It's work in the sense, it's art, it's work, it's study, but it's work. And the worst thing you can do is put my music on, except my latest album. It's the only album which I really like, don't mind, because it's so easy on the ear. But opera, the worst thing you can do is put my music during dinner. I lose my appetite immediately, which is actually a very good weight loss program. I put my music and I don't want to eat. So that's the.
Right, well, so you've answered that, Diana. What about you? Do you listen to your performances?
Well, actually, it has the same effect like on Joseph.
All right. So it's good diet food.
Absolutely.
No, because you start criticizing yourself.
Exactly.
Oh my God, what did I do there? And oh my God, and it's always one moment. It's always one moment, and it continues. And when you listen to it, you're miles away. You're on different paths. You listen, even you hear yourself much more differently than if you would listen to this performance right after the performance. So there's so much going on and so much constant work and hopefully positive work.
When you're singing, Gianna, when you're singing an aria like that on the stage of the Met or anywhere, are you thinking about the actual singing itself, or are you just singing?
Well, that depends. It really depends. There are other moments where I could really say, okay, the plane, everything, the cockpit is all right, and the voice is on its track, and everything is on its track, and then I can I think of music, of the character, of the movement, and like this. It keeps shifting. It keeps shifting, and you have to be like a pilot. You have to be with your eyes and with your feelings on every field.
Right. You know, it's interesting. I think the program that you have chosen together for Saturday, which I'm very excited about, I know our audiences are excited about, include some repertoire that you probably would never sing in the opera house, or at least you haven't sung so far. Like the opening duet from Tosca that you and Joseph will be singing together, and also Vici d'Arte, which I don't know if you've ever sung in concert before. I mean, I can understand that could be a standalone concert piece, but tell us about the program from your perspective, and I'd like to hear Joseph too, of course. Diana.
Hi, you go, Diana. You want to go first?
Yeah. Well, since it's as you said, it was planned to do this concert in Malta in front of the wonderful Caravaggio painting.
In this famous church.
We're crying. But that's why the idea of starting or since we are in a real place. So we have no props, it's all real. It's a real Caravaggio, it's a real church. And finally the arts combine and we do opera. So it's obvious that Tosca is on the first place, the first idea. And for Joseph, at least for Joseph, really, that's it. He has to do it. and then we thought, okay, I don't know if I ever sing a Tosca on stage, but it is a concert, and it is in this surroundings, and it's not the whole opera. So, and it's with piano, and it just fits very well. And I love Tosca. What soprano doesn't love Tosca and does dream of singing of her, dream of singing this role one day. So, yeah. So it's a kind of a fun adventure, like on a very high level of exposure. But okay, we do it, and I'm really happy. But I have to sing it like Diana, with my voice, and with the things I can give at the moment. Let's say Erika could also sing Tosca in recitals. I've never sung also Visidarte. It'll be my absolute debut. I've never sung it. I sang it last week for the first time with accompaniment with Vincenzo, who came to Zurich to rehearse with me. So it's super exciting.
I should mention that Vincenzo Scalera, who is the pianist, the wonderful pianist who is going to be accompanying you and Joseph, although he is not sick from COVID, he unfortunately had the experience of having dinner the other night with cast members of the Aida cast at La Scala who tested positive. And so he pointed this out to us, and we were afraid that he might end up testing positive himself. And since there's so little time, we've now been scrambling to find a replacement pianist for him, so which we of course we will have in time for your rehearsal tomorrow when you're together. And although we don't have a Caravaggio painting in this wonderful church in Caserta, there is a painting of the 18th century or 17th century, and above the altar. So I guess that will have to do. And it is a beautiful church, magnificent church. And
looking so forward.
So Joseph, tell us about the program. What are some of the highlights of the program for you?
It's part of the best hits of opera. We have Elisir d'Amore, which one of the Cavalli di Battaglia, or Horse of Diana, has been in the past as well, of me as well. There's Tosca, we've already spoken about it. Luciano alle Stelle, Visidarte, Mario, the first duet. There is Un ballo maschera. I'm doing Ma sembra forza perderti. We're doing as well from Carmen, excerpts from Carmen as well. Parle-moi de ma mère. And we have a really beautiful finale in the end with some really well-known songs like Non ti scordar di me, and some other really big war horses that me and Diana will sing together. So tune in. It's going to be, fingers crossed, really beautiful, and most importantly, COVID-free.
Well, yes. Our audiences who will be tuning in are very excited about hearing you both together. And in fact, before we go, we have several questions from the audience that have been sent to me, which I thought you might want to hear, and hopefully you will respond to, because this is the Met audience asking some questions. So one question, I'm just looking at it, there are a few of them here. One question, here's an unusual question, maybe. What role, usually cast for members of the opposite sex, would you most like to sing if you could?
I go first?
Sure, go ahead.
Lady Macbeth. I would have so much fun with that. I mean, I sang this with the colleague, our wonderful colleague Anna Trepko, and I told her, Anna, your acting in Lady Macbeth is just phenomenal. And she tells me, Joseph, I am not acting. and this is true, but Lady Macbeth, and actually the baritone role I would sing. I mean, I'm not gonna sing baritone roles. There are no plans for me to sing baritone roles, but never say never. But one role I would just do for fun once is probably Macbeth himself in the opera, because the text is so close to Shakespeare. It's just so beautifully written, and just thinking about it, I get goosebumps.
Cool. Diana, what about you?
Oh well, there are two roles. My favorite role would be, I think, Renato in Un ballo in maschera. I just love this character and what he goes through, and this aria. This is the most exciting piece of music for baritone voice. For me, I love it. Or the Grande Inquisitore, because I love
The Grand Inquisitor.
the Grande Inquisitore. That would be it.
That's a meaty, dramatic role, that's for sure. And couldn't be more different than your voice. So a couple of other questions. At what age were you each introduced to opera, and who introduced you?
Can I go first? Or sure.
Okay. It was my grandpa. It was my grandpa. He loved Wagner. And when we went to bed, he played, before going to bed, he played for us the Wolfsschlucht from Freischütz, and some pieces of Parsifal, and also the Carmen piece with the kids, with Inspect Midikin, the Torero March, which he named Go to Bed, Kids. And we sang it and we marched to bed. Yeah.
That's cute.
For me, I was in a heavy metal rock band. I was 13. I used to sing everything because, of course, I had a full voice with a full range. And then my uncle put in a videotape at the time, a VHS cassette. You stop with the devil's music. Come and listen to this. And he put in the great Caruso of Mario Lanza, the great American tenor Mario Lanza. And I said, I can sing this. And I started imitating him from the first lines of the movies when he's doing an arpeggio to clear the throat from too much flour from carrying it. And then, of course, I was introduced to the voice of Andrea Bocelli, Pavarotti, and then Luciano, Placido Domingo, Carreras. It was the three tenors moment at the time. And then, of course, I met my teacher at the age of 15, and we did the whole regression in back 100 years. Plus with Nino Ederle, Bonci, Giacomo Lorivolpi, Enrico Caruso, Gigli, and all these. But the first ever tenor voice that I was really conscious of listening to the memory is the great American tenor Mario Lanza.
Well, on that note, I think we'll let you both go back to your preparations for the concert on Saturday. And I know more than one of our patrons has written in to say that, not to ask you a question, but to let you both know how much you are missed, and how much our audiences in New York love you, and they're excited to hear you on Saturday. But what they really want is to hear you back on the stage of the Met, and it's nothing I would like more than that as well. So our audiences love you, and I know you love them, and we look forward to the day when life returns for artists as well as the rest of the world. So thank you both so much, and I can't wait to see you on camera in rehearsals coming up. And thank you so much. Thank you to all of our loyal patrons and subscribers who tuned in today. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.